Do you ever wonder why you always lose money in the stock market? You do believe the stock price can go up by 50% a chance and it can also go down by 50% a chance, right? But in reality, the odds are stacked against you. And why it is even possible? So in today's video, I will use a simple math example to help you understand why. And also understand is there a way to avoid it and stack the odds in your favor. So stay tuned. When a game looks fair to both players, why is it still possible for one player to lose a game all the time? Now let's take a look at this example. In this example, we have the following rules. You and another player, let's call him player A, play the coin flip game. The goal is to win money from each other. You and the player A each have a coin and can present it either as a head or tail. Here, notice that in this game, you don't just randomly flip the coin. You get the choice to pick which side the coin is up. But at the same time, you can randomly pick the side too. In the end, there are three possible scenarios. If both coins are heads, you get $3. If both coins are tails, then you get $1. And if one coin is head and another is tail, then you lose $2. So let's take a look at the probability of winning. Basically, it consists of three different scenarios. And so the equation would be the probability of both heads, which is 1/2 times 1/2 equal to 1/4 times $3, plus probability of both tails, which is also 1/2 times 1/2 equal to 1/4 and times $1, plus the probability of one head and one tail, which is 1 minus probability of both heads minus the probability of both tails, and that equals to 1/2. Then we use that times negative $2 because you lose $2. And then you add all these terms up together, you get 0. In other words, in this case, you are not winning nor losing. Seems like a 50-50 chance for you to win, right? But you can change your odds of winning by how to present your coin each time. So what is the strategy to present it as head or as tail, and what is the probability of each? Here are a couple of simple approaches. If you choose to always present a coin as a head, then your opponent, player A, will figure this out. He will see the pattern and then therefore presents a tail to make you lose each time. And similarly, if you choose to always present a coin as a tail, player A will accordingly give a head to make you lose again. That means you definitely wanted to have some optimized probability of presenting heads. And this probably should not be 1 or 0. So this value could be somewhere between 0 and 1. And what it is, this value? Let's describe this in mathematical language. So in order to find out the optimized strategy, let's define a few terms first. Let X be the probability of a head for you, and Y be the probability of a head for your opponent, player A, where X and Y belong to in the range 0 and 1. And E is defined as expected money won for you. And if we can use the previous formula that we see from the previous page, and but replace this 1/2 of the random probability with X and Y, then we get this equation. So E would equal to the first term is for the probability of both heads, and the second term is for probability of both tails, and the next one is for, in the case of one head and one tail. And then you can group all the terms and get this final one. So here's the question. for player A. Player A is really wanted to figure this out. Is there a Y? Y, again, remind you, that's the probability of a head for player A, which player A is trying to figure that out. Is there such a Y that can always make E less than 0? In other words, is there such a strategy that player A can use that make you always lose money? And how to solve this problem? It's actually not that hard. Just let's group Y term, refactor that, and then we get this. And we have two cases for this inequality equation. And the first is we need to figure out when A times X minus 3, is that a positive number or negative number? So for the first case, if it is greater than 0, then that means X is greater than 3 divided by A. And what that means is then you get this function for Y. And if we plot this function, we know this is a decreasing function. And for this particular one, we can see when X equal to 1, Y has the minimum value, which is 2/5. So then we know, since this function is decreasing, and then we know when X is greater than 3/8, and we can know Y has to be less than 2/5. And in the other case, that's the second case, is when X less than 3/8. And in that case, we get a different equation. We actually just flip this less than to the greater than sign. And again, this is another decreasing function, but on the other end, for the x-axis is X is from 0.0 to 3/8. And from here, you can see actually when X equal to 0, Y would have the maximum value. And therefore, we know in this case, Y is always greater than 1/3. Okay, so here's a good, very nice conclusion. Because there's overlapping actually when for the first case and the Y second case, in order to satisfy the E always less than 0. So the sweet spot is when Y greater than 1/3, at the same time Y less than 2/5. E is always less than 0. It doesn't matter where X is. So what does that mean? That just means there is a sweet spot for Y that player A can use. The probability, for instance, right? It's from 1/3 is 0.33 to 0.4. Let's pick 0.35, for example. If Y equal to 0.35, then no matter how you present your head, because no matter what X is, that's your probability of head. It doesn't matter. E for you, the expected earned you want is always less than 0, which means you always lose. And just take some moment to think about it. Player A is like institutional investor, and you are the retail investor. Institutional investors, they have profound impact on stock prices, as they account for the most of the trading in the market. Their buying could send a stock price go up, and their selling could send the stock price go down. On the surface, as retail investor, you would think you still have 50% chance of winning, because you can always choose long a position when you think the stock price is going to go up, and a short a position when you think the stock price is going down. But in reality, you often lose. I hope now you can understand and have better understanding, get some insights from the simple math example I just presented in the video. So the message I want to send, and my suggestion to you, is avoid trading, because the market is complicated. And also the trading is difficult. So if you do not know what you are doing, and most likely that's the case, then just try to avoid trading. Especially do not use options or leverage, because these decisions, they just increase your chance of losing. The safe option that I would suggest or recommend would be invest in companies with good fundamentals, and then buy their stocks at a discounted price. Then hold it for the long term. If you do think you learned something from this video, and don't forget to like it and also subscribe to the channel.